picked up a lot of wins early in the split, sporting that Morgana that went 4-0 for GODFRED.
On Jax.
And on Jax too. GODFRED got his first win. Was it yesterday? I believe it was yesterday.
Not Morgana.
Not Morgana. So I asked him about it. He's like, yeah, I'm expanding my champion pool.
So working in progress. The Kalista is also banned away. Elements will have that last one left. And they go ahead and get rid of the Kog'Maw. So they take it away from themselves.
All right, Giants Gaming still have that Varus Ezreal up. They still have that Varus Corki up if they so wish. They also have the Donger up, but we're not going to see it. Let's take stock. Both tier 1 junglers are open here. If I didn't miss it. Nope, Rek'Sai and Gragas both open. We have some off-meta picks in the jungle open too. But most importantly, Sivir is open. I want to see Sivir.
We have seen it first picked quite often, and the scaling has been an important thing for Elements, but I feel like they definitely have to understand how important it is to be able to run a composition like that. And if it's left open here by Giants, I would expect them to very quickly pick it up. But let's see if Giants do prioritize that.
See, I don't think so. I think Giants should pick up Sivir, but I think they won't. And I think this will be a very interesting game because Elements historically has picked a lot of Sivir games. Whereas hard engage on the hunt into defensive double poke. Oh, I'm wrong. Thank you, Giants, for proving me wrong, because I really feel stylistically it would have been a mismatch. If you end up playing that passive poke style into an on the hunt comp, you can get punished very hard. And Adryh whipping out the Sivir. Let's see if Elements have a reply. Kalista's out, Sivir's out. Will they go for the traditional Corki that we've seen? Steadily moved his way up on the ranks as a top 3 AD carry.
Well, Tabzz has tried a lot of different stuff, but of course, you know, they've really only found a lot of success on the Sivir. One win on Kalista too, but of course that's banned away. So with AD carry pool hit a little bit, I feel like they're probably going to take their time about this and not take it on this rotation. As you mentioned before, both the top tier junglers are up. You've got Gragas, you've got Rek'Sai. Of course, Frederick has also been playing some slightly different things. Let's see if Elements take that on their first part of the draft.
There is the old tier 1 support Alistar that we always talked about, but honestly he's been falling out of favor a little bit in Europe. Has a relatively low win rate, but Elements still seem to favor it. And this is a draft that we could have expected at the start of the season as well. Sivir opening for that utility with her counterpart, Kalista out. Urgot was part of the trifecta initially, but kind of fell out of favor, and then Elements replying pretty standard here. Gragas and Alistar. Gragas usually favored slightly over Rek'Sai by a few of these junglers like Dexter. Giants, they say, well, okay, you pick one tier 1, I'm not going to give you much more information. I will just in-select my Rek'Sai, and then start thinking about what we want to do with this composition.
Now, usually they have been wanting to not just be able to utilize the Sivir, the group and one of you kind of thing. The Kog'Maw, of course, I mentioned it was a ban on Froggen as well, but especially against PePiiNeRO, who'd been using it kind of the same way Power of Evil did earlier. He's going to have to try something different. I don't think he's going to want to blind pick on this rotation. Instead, there we go. There's the Thresh locked in. Yeah,
they want to match the support, so they're both teams trying to hide information. I really feel Giants are hoping that Jwaow takes a pick here, because I feel the crux matchup is not PePiiNeRO Froggen, as many people suspect, but in my opinion, it could very well be Jwaow against Adryh. Whoever wins that split push battle gets the initial pressure.
Let's see if Elements do decide to take that Corki. You know, we don't normally talk about the hovers. I think it definitely makes a lot of sense. It's been strong for a lot of carries here in Europe. Let's see if they do go for it.
I want to see if they pick AD and mid here or AD and top laner.
Froggen is not usually one to take a blind mid lane, but he might be forced to, or excuse me, he might do it here, but if they really want to take the top instead, I don't blame them for that one. And the Gnar would work well, but again, there's still a lot that Giants can do to pick against it. If Werlyb gets a lane that he wants, we know that he definitely can carry, and they're going to save their mid for last.
Yeah, good range split push bully on the Gnar with the Black Cleaver can, I feel, win the split push against almost anything. I obviously have no idea about how the Shyvana Gnar matchup plays out. Pick is still available for Werlyb. He's one of the only, if not the only player that actually sports that Shyvana split push pick. But Giants, they could also do something different. Say, we don't want to split push because we have a Sivir composition. We can just run at you, try and kill you. Elements, 3 very tanky members right now, and they're, yeah, need some damage in the mid lane.
If they do want to just go all out with the Sivir composition, what kind of top laner would they really be looking at? I'm thinking like a Maokai or something.
Yeah, that is traditionally what teams used to run, but I feel you run a little low on damage. So if you run a Maokai, which you can, you obviously put yourself in a very awkward matchup against a Gnar. So I feel Werlyb will like some more dueling potential. However, they complement that Shyvana with an Orianna. Orianna's very low pressure in the mid lane, so Froggen should actually have the advantage early. However, when it comes to team fights, you can send in Shyvana from a flank or just straight up from the front with the Orianna ball on top, and you have the Dragon Ball delivery system coming out at tremendous speed. If not, you can go for the ball delivery light system on the Rek'Sai. Elements will definitely have to watch out for that. So what's Froggen going to reply? You can play anything into Orianna. Eagle said it's a skill matchup in every lane. In my opinion, it's a gifted lane towards the mid pick you play, honestly, and I feel Orianna is very low on pressure early.
Let's see if Elements are able to unwrap that one. As the timer ticks down, Froggen considers his own options. For him, this split, he's definitely had mixed success on a number. Yes, the WA is definitely open.
Actually fun to play into Orianna. But it's
you know
not
what?
Happen.
I would like to see it, but yeah, I don't think so either. He's definitely had mixed success on a number of champions. Vladimir's not available to him, obviously, this time, and neither is the Echo. Those are two champions he's had the most on. I'd say his Victor, but he didn't play particularly well on it before. The Azir,
yeah, he needs mobility. He needs mobility, so he'll definitely lock in the Azir. I was gonna comment on how a Nyph wall could technically stop Shyvana ulti if you blew it frame perfect. However, it's a lot easier with the Emperor's Divide on Azir, and I like this composition from Elements. Whole lot of tankiness, but they have good poke damage on Azir and the Corki. However, if Jwaow gets focused down, they're gonna run very heavy on the magic damage side of things, and to have correct itemization, then it may prove difficult for Elements to poke people out.
One thing that's important to note is I feel like this is one of the first times we're really seeing Elements go for a composition that isn't all about the late game. Yes, Azir is going to scale well, but the Corki is going to be a little bit more involved in the mid game. You know, you've got early to mid game jungler on the Dexter's on and the Gragas. Yes, that's early tier, but this is a team that can definitely group and get some work done.
Now
split push.
Yeah, so definitely mid game slightly late game oriented composition. But then again, whenever Elements usually plays, everything becomes late game. But I want to keep my eyes on Giants. Are they gonna recognize the way to play this composition, which is slightly different from what they've played so far? Are they gonna play to their strengths, wait for the spikes, and then use them? Because it's slightly different from the double tier composition with poke that they've usually ran, because this is very teamfight oriented with a mild split push component in the Shyvana. Definitely gonna be an explosive mid game, at least I hope so.
Yeah, we'll have to see. What do you guys think? Why don't you go ahead and tweet us your predictions. That is at LL Esports. GIA winner, EL win, to see if Giants can 2-0 Elements in this split. Both teams running some slightly different stuff than what we expected to see from them. And we'll be loading up onto the Rift right here for number 2 in this summer split matchup between Giants Gaming and Elements.
Let's take a look at these matchups. Pyra on the bot lane, double range with Sivir, should have the push advantage against Alistar. Melee support with low wave clear, early 1 to 6 level Corki. So the advantage goes to Giants bot lane, should go even at worst. Top lane Shyvana, Gnar, seems like Gnar can bully out the Shyvana early. She'll have to push in and then get risk of getting ganked, so we might see a lane swap coming out from Giants.
Get it, or if they can maybe get a catch. No, Dexter's going to be getting out just fine. GODFRED, does he go for the hook? He does. Dexter still belly bumps his way away. Means some deep wards from Giants. Looks like they'll be trying to at least look for or predict the lane swap.
Yeah, however, Giants traditionally CS very well in normal lanes. Werlyb had a CS at 10 advantage over his direct lane opponents. So did PePiiNeRO, so the split push component obviously is going to die out in that lane swap. I think more group oriented. Let's see, Gnar, Jwaow snuck through, so he's unspotted. Mirror ward from Elements. Pretty standard start in current metagame.
Absolutely. So, Giants looks like they're going to be going down bottom for the time being. GODFRED's actually going on a little bit of a roam path as he moves around, takes his time. They really don't need to. Ooh, are they going to juke this one out? Yes, Adryh and GODFRED are going to avoid the ward, go through the base gates instead and follow Frederick. But the plan is going to be revealed as the other deep ward spots them both. So Elements have full vision of what's going on here on the Giants side of the map.
Yeah, Giants might opt for the Grumps here. Elements. What I like doing on Alistar, and this is Krepo Grump shenanigans again, is starting W and knock it closer to the lane. And then walk on the lane and act as if you have Q, because if you don't pulverize, people will always think you have pulverize. It won't matter here because Elements will get stopped. Giants are invading, no vision. This might be... Ooh.
Oh, this could be dangerous. Tabzz, he's hooked. Adryh's going to send the Boomerang Blade in and he takes both.
Grump is helping.
Instant summoner heal. Grump is assisting Giants.
2v3.
Oh boy.
That's cheating. Good invade by Giants. Nice. They know they're the superior lane 1v1, level 1. Because if you get the lane early and experience is low, the level 2 power spike obviously comes later. Then the bot lane with the double range advantage has the edge. Therefore, it is beneficial for Giants to not do Krugs and stop Elements on the Grump instead. Also, the way this early game played out, Giants have a good idea about where the wards are. Elements is always going to ward deep. Spot that lane spot. Once you get past those wards, you're in the darkness. And they stop Elements on the ground, but this puts Tabzz behind, and he's been behind CS at 10 already so far in the split with Promiscu. Now with Nyph, going to end up in the same situation.
There's that level 2 for Adryh too. Tabzz has just not even been able to get into lane just yet, still hightailing it in. Nyph has been trying to hold the line, but not a great start for Elements in this one. And Giants bot lane.
Put some pressure.
Will they potentially start to try and push this one in? Sivir's definitely got some good early damage.
I mean, they have no other choice. The minions will push in. That's the way this lane will behave. They just want to deny as much farm as they can. Nyph jukes or GODFRED misses, whatever you want. Some poke. Yeah, this will become a sustained battle and indication of how well the CS on the tower. Meanwhile, Frederick in the top lane.
Yes, he's going to go ahead and tunnel his way in. Gnar still ticking. Werlyb is going to be jumping in. There's the 2v1 right there. And Jwaow will make his escape.
And I like it. We know PePiiNeRO can safe farm in the mid lane. We know the bot lane is automatically pushing out. And we know that there's a range advantage on Gnar into Shyvana. Therefore, Frederick, he knows he's not going to get a kill. But he just wants to put enough pressure that Jwaow can safely be pushed in by Werlyb. And then Werlyb will survive long enough to facilitate that base. He's also not getting ganked by Dexter. There was the counter gank potential there for Frederick. So good early game resource management from Giants.
Absolutely. Still a very even start despite the fact that the bot lane is very skewed at the moment. Well, actually, Tabzz goes ahead and catches right back up, so it really hasn't been as much of a problem.
That means...
Oh, that's not a good way to go.
Frederick takes the blue buff. However, he's meant to take the blue buff, so that's a denied advantage for PePiiNeRO on Orianna, so he'll run low on mana. But you said Tabzz catches up. That should never happen. That means Adryh missed CS on their tower. He should never be even in CS here. However, Elements proving to be a resilient bunch. Couple extra creeps in there, so a mild advantage for Adryh, but overall this game is even Stevens in the early game.
Yeah, considering the play that they made early, it just completely squandered. Elements able to climb back into this one. So, taking a look at the junglers too, Frederick is making his way down bottom. We had already seen Dexter there, but he wasn't able to go in. They didn't want to attempt the dive. Now, it's going to be back towards the top side. Jwaow and Werlyb continue to just trade a little bit of poke, and there's your answer earlier to how this Shyvana and Gnar matchup goes.
Yeah, and if you're watching at home and you're saying, hey, this is Elements playing passive again, hold your judgment until the 15-17 minute mark, in my opinion, because both of these compositions are oriented for an explosive mid-game. Mostly so on Elements' side. They want to hit that Triforce spike on Corki. They want to get the Azir into the objective areas and zone out, and Dexter is looking for a bit of cheeky gank on Werlyb here.
Dexter making his way up to the top side. Werlyb is still playing it a little bit more safely here. He might be running directly into into the belly bump, and there is going to be Jwaow immediately jumping into action. Prompts the flash from Werlyb. We'll have to back to base, lose out on some of that sweet, sweet CS, and they'll give a chance for Jwaow to catch up.
And just the way Frederick ganked for Werlyb earlier, Dexter does the same thing, giving the pressure advantage to Jwaow, and both teams realizing that they can just leave their bot lane alone, their mid lane alone, and they want to tilt that split push into their favor.
We talked about this at the very beginning of the split. Jwaow was having so many troubles, and the biggest reason we thought was that he wasn't getting any help from Dexter. This time, there's a lot more focus on this side. It's definitely showing through for him.
To be fair, at the start of the split, Dexter was getting the ganks off, and Jwaow was also falling behind on his own merit. He's definitely improved lately.
Very true. He's a little more self-sufficient, but he is getting the assistance.
Yeah, and then with the added assistance, as you say right there, he's proving to be a split push monster. Yesterday, 4 Elements, and he kept Elements close against SK, and eventually, with a fantastic Gnar LT, managed to even out that game. Let's see if he can have a repeat performance. As we said in the mid lane, it's going to be poke, poke, poke until these guys get their ultimates out, and even then, there's still the heal on the side of Froggen. But honestly, I've missed this, and I should have mentioned this earlier, and I think both of us, there's a teleport on PePiiNeRO. That's something we don't very often see.
Yeah.
On Orianna.
It's definitely something I wasn't really expecting.
I should have probably seen that one coming.
I kind of missed that one too, I'm not going to lie. We'll have to see how they end up utilizing it, because PePiiNeRO he's not normally what we would call an Orianna player. I mean, that's kind of like mid lane 101, but nonetheless, the last time these guys met, he played Diana.
Yep.
So who knows, but yeah, this is the game he's like 12-4 or something, and they just absolutely made all these crazy movements, and you can never really guess what's going on with PePiiNeRO if he's going to step up and just do some crazy stuff to carry.
He definitely has the potential to do a lot of wonky stuff. Whenever you play against him, he can just randomly show up somewhere, catch you off guard.
No, actually, in the last game, this is already looking very different from Giants' last matchup with Elements overall, not just in the picks. I mean, they did run a Sivir comp similarly, but it was a much more snowball out of control game. I think it went 35, 36, 37 minutes. But Giants are playing this one a little bit way more by the numbers, and that's also, I think, a credit to their evolution as a team and to see where they've gotten so far as the split progresses.
Yeah, they're playing a mid-game composition right now, so not as skirmish and brawl heavy, or on the other side of the spectrum, poke heavy as they ran traditionally, so a little bit different here from Giants, but we've been passive so far, and we said it, hang on, keep that tower alive and wait for the mid-game.
That's why he's running the teleport.
Yeah, I'm going to keep that sustained advantage.
Twice as often.
Yeah, it's good to keep Orianna to a relatively weak early laning phase.
Take notes, blind. See what happens here as the game continues to go on. GODFRED is moving back into the bottom side as he's been on a bit of a roam mission, but you look at that farm. I mean, at the very beginning of that game, there was such an advantage for Adryh, completely squandered. And now Giants still looking for other edges in this game. If they look for Jwaow.
Dexter to come in.
Dragon's Descent. Jwaow on the run in mini-Gnar.
Here's Dexter though.
They got the backup from the Fat Man, and they'll just have to settle for placing a ward in the try.
And yeah, these compositions lean towards such a passive early game as well, as PePiiNeRO gets spotted on the pink ward. He wants some more. Giants trying to get something done on the top side of the map, because as you said, double sides on in the bot lane. Sustain side on the side of Alistar in a Sivir lane that usually always goes even. Nyph goes in for the relic stack. Pulverize. Bot lane even Steven, so the only advantage can be made in the top lane. But very telegraphed ganks on both sides, so yeah, I'm waiting for first blood. Like we were waiting for Godot, and that might turn out to be quite the wait.
Oh,
Jwaow?
He looks like he wants it right about now into the brushes. You can't hide.
Okay.
And in Gnar form, Jwaow is going to do it solo.
Jwaow says, passive massive. I'm going to take first blood. Elements in the lead.
Receive. So now Elements have themselves a little bit more gold. It's actually about still even across the board, slightly edged towards them courtesy of that, but still, it's only been the solo plays, and as you mentioned, yeah, this is not really the comp for Giants that's built to be skirmishing as much, and for Elements, they're still happy to kind of sit back and let the laning phase happen as it may.
And this is crucial for Jwaow, because the Gnar into a tanky bruiser matchup is all dependent on when he gets that frozen mallet or armor presentation from that black cleaver, because then he can really start bullying his way home, and split push 1v1 on long lanes is a very snowbally mechanic. So whoever gets the lead early can just take that home and translate it into more CS, more lane control, more map control. And then if you have to sacrifice your jungler to gank top, then suddenly you open up the map, and GODFRED, yeah, he's doing what people in passive lanes do, is fishing for hooks, but they're never gonna hit. Even if they don't, they have disengaged. Elements going to take a dragon off the back of this one. Pushed in mid, pushed in bot.
May not be free.
Winning top. And calculated.
Gotta finish that one off. So Pepi checked in, but all the same, Elements will grab that first dragon. 10.5. They are being a lot more proactive than we've seen in the past. Tabzz dodged the hook.
Good Valk. And yeah, this is Orianna early game. You will get pushed in. It's inevitable. And you just have to concede that first dragon or try and cross map. Because Elements is winning in the top lane too, there is no cross map potential for Giants. They find themselves at a slight deficit. Lantern flash play.
See if they can make the play. It's going to be a flash from Tabzz to get away, and the cow has turned the attention towards him as he throws down the Unbreakable. Will.
That's actually a cool interaction between Thresh and Alistar. Froggen goes in, Shurima shuffle.
And he gets it off, and Dexter into the bump. He wants to come to the dance too. A barrel comes out, and Pepi is close to going down, has the shield, throws the shockwave. Could he get away? Not from the soldiers. Froggen pokes him down.
Every time I try to explain something, Elements interrupt me with a kill. Beautiful move there from Froggen. He knew Dexter was coming. Combo shuffle into the body slam. PePiiNeRO finds himself dead in the water.
Froggen might find himself as well. Dragon's Descent. Werlyb runs right over him. And
lack of communication on Elements' side in greedy Froggen. This is something people have faulted him for before. He gets a kill, but then he stays around for just 100 more gold, 200 more gold. Why not base immediately, keep up the tempo? Yes, you might lose some CS, but you just gotta kill. Be happy with your advantage, and poor communication. They didn't call the Werlyb MIA, or even if they did, it wasn't heard. Froggen just sacrifices his fancy play for just a simple death.
And now Werlyb has a little bit more gold back in his pocket. That might help to even out that matchup, the Gnar Shyvana matchup we were talking about. Werlyb, he's got blue buff on him as well. I guess it'll help his cooldowns a little bit. This is the Ice Drake. Blue is usually good for that.
Yep. Dragon of Ice and Fire. However, let's see how this bot lane evolves, and if Giants are actually gonna group with the Sivir, because that's what you do. You play Sivir and you group up, so you don't have to resort for those long range hooks. You can actually just walk closer you get. easier it is to land. In theory
is a definitely necessary addendum to this one. We have seen Sivir comps not work out quite so well, not executed so well on some teams. But again, Giants, you know, they're not complete strangers to this. They are, however, letting elements make plays on them. Now they're going to turn their attention on the bottom side, though, with Frederick at the back. Tabzz might be zoned off of this one. The hook, that was right in front of a minion, GODFRED. And Adryh will finish that one off. A little dangerous play. GODFRED's running in, and there's the Sivir run. They get the ignite off. They throw the box. In comes Frederick. Tabzz. He's got no flash. He's going to run in, and Frederick is going to run him over.
Ironically, Tabzz felt a little too comfortable there because he was mind-gaming GODFRED constantly by hiding behind creeps, but then, yeah, slightly too cocky because On the Hunt gets popped, but now Werlyb gets cancelled.
Yes, he does. In dragon form, couldn't get the jump off. Barreled back towards the top, has to burn his flash.
He's going down.
Chasing after him. Dexter runs right into him, picks him off. Meanwhile, down bottom, Nyph was caught on a chain.
That was a fantastic body slam by Dexter. That was not reactively, that was predictively. He said, okay, Werlyb, if you're gonna go out here, I body slam you now, maybe have my barrel for a second chance, but if you interrupt Shyvana in her Dragon's Descent, that's exactly what you want to do, because Jwaow will stick to her and just take her down. And it's another tower for elements.
Go ahead and grab that one out. So taking stock, we're 14 minutes into the game. It is a 400 gold lead for Giants. However, elements are still making some big plays
PePiiNeRO's out of mana and doing wolves, sacrificing his tower. Why wouldn't you just base?
He's got the teleport too.
Both these mid laners are playing low tempo. They're prioritizing farm over the tempo of the game, and I really don't like that in the current metagame.
Very strange move there. Sun Disc is in as well. They're going to have to clear that one away, and the Sand Soldiers are doing work on GODFRED. There's the hook. It's going to catch Nyph, but that's
no ulti on him.
Not the target they want necessarily. They do take a chunk out of his health, but still, now they have to defend this mid.
But yeah, they see PePiiNeRO in the mid lane completely out of mana, so this prompts elements to just take a stroll around, put vision where they want. And we're approaching the mid game here. No, we're not doing that anymore. We are not cheering for wards. We're cheering for kills.
Well, we've got 5 on the board. Let's see if that starts adding to it. Next dragon is going to be a minute and a half away. Remember, elements were able to take that last one, a very early one by their own standards.
Poor Dexter comes back to the lane. He's like, okay, let's go Grump. No, Grump is gone. Let's go to Wolves. Oh, it's gone. Let's take the Wraiths. No, they're gone. All right, I'll take mid. Oh no, Froggen's here. Never mind. So he's behind it.
Poor Dexter.
Poor little Dexter. Red buff's up though. It looks like Jwaow wants that. So, if you don't have camps in your jungle, you walk to your enemy's jungle. See if you can find something there.
They're going to get spotted while they do it, though, as some serious Giant surveillance systems starting to get cleared away. A couple of wards from elements as well to place down.
But they're grouping up. That's what you want to do in the mid game. You want to group up your support and your jungler together. Get that vision, control the areas, find out where the enemy is warding, find an opening, and then get a gank off. Corki can farm on his own perfectly fine. Very adept to that. That's why he's ranked 3rd currently, in my opinion, as AD carries. Go.
And that's, you know, that goes back into our discussion about that jungle support synergy and how the top teams are able to execute that well. When you've got the tools like an Alistar and a Gragas, all the more important for these two. So we'll see if elements continue that one up while they continue to have Tabzz pushing down on the bottom with the big wave that's going to be met by Werlyb.
Something you would see teams like HGK do right now is put their AD carry mid and put their mid laner respectively on the bot lane to poke and siege a little better there. This facilitates the support hovering around the mid lane once they both go for elements here. And max range hook, really hard to land those in full vision. One could almost argue impossible.
You can also tell GODFRED's not, you know, he's not quite as comfortable in this champ as he is on the Morgana, and it's definitely going to be.
I mean, he's trying. He's trying to get those hooks off, and he knows if he misses, he doesn't get punished for it.
That's true.
So he might get 0 out of 10, but if he gets 1 out of 10, like maybe here, nope, then he can punish. But yeah, it indicates that you're stuck in a very, very passive mid game on the side of Giants, and elements, they have control of the map, and they'll take their 2nd dragon.
They should be able to do it. Giants
they have to check in. Orianna though.
Praise Seeker came in a little too late. Tabzz manages to secure the dragon. That is number 2 for elements.
Now what I do like about this TP Orianna is that you can put her on a side lane. Traditionally you can't put Orianna on a side lane, but because she's too immobile to actually get back to the fight. But now you can put your Sivir in the center part of the map, and she can rotate quickly to one of the side lanes with On the Hunt. So a split push Orianna coming out of PePiiNeRO. Revolutionizing the metagame.
Yeah, well, when you got teleport, there's no limit to what you really can do all over the map, right? Let's see if he's actually really able to get too much done with that. Meanwhile, Adryh's got to go down bot to defend this outer turret. Take a look Our completed items, some spikes here for Elements. You got that Trinity Force, of course, had been finished for Tabzz. We'd already seen the Black Cleaver on the Gnar. He said they were going to be looking to group up and try to make some plays in the mid game. Let's see if they actually follow it up. Right now they're on the bottom side. Could be seeing a bit of blood soon.
Likely to see some teleports here. Both solo laners have it available.
There's one spent. Boomerang Blade to push away. Werlyb's already down. That's preemptively blown. So now Elements have the teleport advantage without having to do anything. Nicely done.
All right, Siege didn't work. Tower didn't go down. Are they rotating mid? But that wave is cleared. Bit of a massive top wave. Maybe Elements can use that to their advantage. But right now Giants is pushing out the bot wave. So stagnant mid game. Usually you see teams pushing mid right here. Orianna is going to the top lane to deal with that wave. There's nobody in the mid lane. Giants? Alright, no wave just yet though, so they're racing against time, against minions. Good choke points control. It's so hard to get through this against an Azir and a Dexter, I was gonna say, and a Gragas. Orianna's flanking with the teleport.
Trying to get that one. There's the teleport in for Jwaow. However, he's gonna have to cancel it. Too many Giants were in the area. They fall back to the Sun Disc to control.
Yeah.
It seems like very slow moves. They try to set something up and they're just not quick enough in executing.
Yeah, Jwaow should just be pushing the bot lane here, facilitating a rotation. Elements can hold the Giants in the mid lane with that Sun Disc tower, and then go back into the jungle and go in. But here's on the hunt.
Oh, denied! It's pushed back, and meanwhile, while the hook was finally landed, it's GODFRED that went down. Dexter took the incentive to bop him in the face. Ooh. With the man advantage.
We said it in champs like Pyra. If you use that Azir ultimate, you could stop the Dragon's Descent. You can stop that ball delivery system. You need to find another way, Giants, because you just got completely read like a book and denied by Froggen. And Jwaw's on the bottom. He's taking down a tower. He's winning that split push. Elements in control.
This is just where the objectives are lying for them. They can keep everyone for Giants busy while Tabzz does his thing in the top, while Jwaow does his thing in the bot. They keep them occupied. They get this 1-3-1 going, and they continue to push Giants back.
Yeah, when Giants have their ultimates on cooldown, 1-3-1 is an efficient response to their composition, in my opinion. Especially because Azir can hold his own, Corki can hold his own, Gnar can hold his own. This completely frees up Dexter and Nyph as roaming resources for vision control. They have to base right now, refill their sight stones, set their sights on the next dragon when it comes up eventually. Get that extra movement speed, facilitate those rotations yet again, and see if they can find an opening. Might be a little harder because honestly this one was donated quite a bit by Giants. When you play against an Azir and an Alistar, you really want to look for those flanks. You don't want to come from the front door because it becomes very easy for Azir to just pop his ulti. Either he cancels the Shyvana ulti mid-cast, or he just puts the ulti down and you can't leap over it. You have to flash over that wall and then ulti, but then your entire team will have to flash. And it's too easy to disengage with Azir if everybody's right in front of you. That's why flanks are so good.
It's an important communication game for Giants to be able to make these plays, but as it stands, Elements have themselves in the lead.
All right, 20 minutes try on blue buff. Is it gonna work?
Frederick's not going to attempt to do anything to it, so there we go. PePiiNeRO will secure that. So 1 out of 2 ain't too bad. Dragon's up in about 2 minutes. Elements are going to leisurely take their time to get the warding up, get the vision up, but Dexter's got to be careful not to get caught by GODFRED. He's going to preemptively go ahead and take a dash.
And that's how you usually see which team's in the lead. Yes, you have gold, which is even. You have some dragons and towers, but the game is usually spelled out by the wards. Who has wards in their enemy's red jungle is usually a good indicator of how far ahead of a team is. And Elements have defensive double pink ward at their red jungle, and they're aggressively invading Giants' jungle. So they're the one moving first. Giants put all their vision around the Baron. They really don't want Elements to push in and peel back to that Baron for free. So Elements are just going to ignore that objective for now. See if they can find an opening somewhere. Very hard though. Sivir has wave clear. Orianna has wave clear.
So with that, Giants are definitely going to be able to stop the siege as long as they don't lose anyone. The problem is it's still been very, very tough. PePiiNeRO has got the shield on, avoid the Azir poke.
So that's what you want to do. You want to punish Giants, slowly trying to get vision. Deny them, put them in the dark, and then eventually peel back and get those neutral objectives. Maybe steal away their Raptors, maybe we steal away their Krugs, and slowly inch that gold lead forward and get more dragons.
So at the end of the day, it's still about the scaling, but it's not about the comps. It's about getting yourself more and more powerful to where your opponent can't get anything done. Giants are going to have to work fast to counteract that process that Elements are trying to make happen here. Staggering the backs, but getting ready.
I want to see if
the next Drake.
If the Giants can get an opening at the next dragon and pop on the hunt and find something to work with. For that to work, they need to get wards behind Elements. They need Werlyb on that flank, otherwise it's going to be proved very difficult because Nyph can knock back Werlyb or just pop Pulverize and Unbreakable Will. Alistar also is very efficient when the team is coming from the same angle. You just walk into them, pop Unbreakable Will, and they have to deal with you somehow because you're such a pesky nuisance that's unkillable with that Unbreakable Will. Alistar, not the greatest in chaotic teamfights where everybody's coming from all angles and you really have to divert your attention because then Unbreakable Will is slightly less efficient.
Yep, both teams know that this dragon is the next thing on the menu. Adryh taking a lot of Azir poke. He has to pop on the hunt defensively, and that gives Elements a huge advantage here to go ahead and take out this dragon. They immediately move 2 onto it. Frederick's around the back. He could try for a steal, but it would have to be a miracle.
He wants to be El Bandito again, but against El, it's not going to work.
No, not when Nyph is headbutting him away. So with that, dragon number 3 secured. Nyph even dodges GODFRED's hook. And Elements on par to get some revenge from earlier in the season, or earlier in the split, I should say.
Yeah, and Elements looking for a, fight fire with fire. How do you fight a dragon? You simply get 5 of them. And you beat the dragon with aspect of the dragon.
Sometimes it works. Teleport coming in. Werlyb doesn't cancel it. They turn their attention to him. Nyph's going to get the knock-up. Jwaow goes Mega Gnar. The ball lands on everyone from Elements, and they might have stayed too long as Giants turn around the collapse. Frederick picks up Froggen. Dexter gets hit by the ball of Pepi, and now Nyph is bailing out. Headbutts, but Adryh takes him down anyways. All of a sudden, 3 Elements members down.
Yeah, that hurts, honestly. Why would you start the Baron so early? You can't afford to do that if you don't have complete vision control over the area. Tabzz looking to poke. Jwaow coming in with the return teleport. Giants, they make the correct move. They send in Werlyb, who is very tanky. He survives long enough to get that shield from Orianna. And Elements clumped up around that dragon. They really wanted that Werlyb. Let's watch that again. He comes in. Froggen goes in. Soldiers don't really connect. Knock 1, knock 2, knock 3. But bam! Orianna ulti. Hook into play. Into AoE. PePiiNeRO steps to the side. Watch him put his ball over the edge right there. Slow them even more. And Adryh is untouched. The auto attack speeds him up a little bit. And crucial positioning mistake. Overreached by Elements.
They paid for it.
Put their hand in the Baron jar. They got caught doing so by the Giants. The game is bang on even. Maximum 100 goal difference right here. But
back to it.
3 dragons in the favor of Elements.
That's a crucial differentiator because Elements are going to want to play this aspect game out. For them, though, that mistake at Baron, that was punished by Giants. I feel like against an even stronger team, that could have easily been an ace. That could have been an easy counter Baron. And this is the kind of thing that Elements, as they're currently sitting in 7th place, trying to climb up in the standings, are going to need to play out way better.
They need to perfect it. It was okay to an extent to take control of that area and that objective to force something, keep up the tempo of the game, but you have to weigh your options. You need to know how well you can do that Baron, how long you can keep tanking it without taking too much damage. And honestly, they could have peeled back and gotten a free teleport. That would have been fine. It's just that they all clump up on top of Werlyb and they lost track of where PePiiNeRO was.
Yeah. And they didn't connect the damage right away either, as you mentioned about the soldiers. Werlyb is one of the tankiest members on this team, the tankiest member on this team.
Different build.
Too, as well. There's a lot of armor, and he's not really going bruiser this time. You're right, he's been full tank.
Yeah, yesterday, when we saw him play that Shyvana split push, he went Blade of the Ruined King first, but because he fell behind in this matchup, damage against damage is never going to work, so he wants to put more utility in the team fight. This is not Werlyb keeping people at bay with the split push, this is Werlyb just dealing with the side lanes, then joining the fights to become that tanky dragon that just wreaks havoc, and then gets shield from PePiiNeRO, become even more efficient as you get tankier. Obviously, 400 extra HP means a whole lot more if you have 200 armor to do it with.
Can't be afraid to take those dragon's descents when it does happen. So they've been trying to catch him on the side of Elements, but that's not really the target they really need to look for right now. For Giants, they can run at the team that threat from PePiiNeRO, that threat from Adryh. Frederick is a very tanky front line as well. It's going to be hard to break through in these straight up fights.
We were talking about the explosive mid game, but we're approaching mid to late game right now. We see Spike on Adryh, IH Phantom Dancer finisher, not going for the static Shiv, so his build will scale even better as he goes towards more items later on. And the man to watch here, PePiiNeRO, triple item spike on Orianna. That's the one you want to look for. Whole lot of AP, shielding for quite large numbers. I'm just going to take a look at the side of my screen here, just how much he does. Yeah, 340. I believe,
going to sting.
Yep.
For Elements, it's always a safe bet when you're playing this team that the game will probably go late. We talked about how long they usually spend in winning moments. The same can be said of losses with a couple of exceptions. Still though, 3 Dragon advantage to 0. It's going to be a minute and a half until the next one comes up. Giants have got to slow the pace if they do want to match this Elements team, and they'll be turning their attention, I would think, towards that Dragon side.
Yeah, the man to watch right now, as I butcher that sentence completely, is Jwaow. His split push, his tempo. Is he gonna draw some Giants members back to the top lane? Because they're a minute early for this Dragon. And honestly, I feel not much is gonna happen until that 4th Dragon. Elements can also choose to not take it. They don't have to commit for it. But they're in prime position with the split push advantage on Jwaow right here. Black Cleaver and Spirit Visage finished. Warden's Mail coming in as well.
This is forcing Giants to not be able to group up and pop on the hunt and then try to find one of Elements members out. As long as Elements can keep the split push going, it controls the pace of the game. It lets them buy time for Dragons to come up. This is the game plan that they're working from.
Yeah, now the Baron area is completely dark, so prompting a possible face check. You want to make the Baron area dark, then you want to get mid control again. You want to push in mid quite deep, and then you want to fall back to the Baron area. Then they have to face check. Here we go. Whoosh!
PePiiNeRO cannot connect the shockwave.
That should be a free Dragon.
Coin is popped by Nyph. Looks like he thought a fight was coming their way. Dragon is going to be in just less than 15 seconds. Giants still in position, but there is no longer that threat from PePiiNeRO. Adryh gets chunked. Ow.
And because Jwaow pushed in the top lane first, he could move to the mid lane. GODFRED with the Hail Mary.
Can't quite get it.
On the hunt pop too.
That's the problem with Hail Marys. You don't always get him. The ball, however, does do a lot of damage to Nyph. And all of a sudden, Elements are the ones who are backing away. Giants trying to force an opening, punch a hole through this Elements team, and finally take down this mid turret. Will they get it? Froggen around the side. Dexter throws the barrel. It doesn't connect on Frederick, but Nyph is able to. Frederick is going to have to tunnel his way to safety as a teleport comes in for Jwaow. They bop on the hunt defensively. Oh, GODFRED narrowly avoiding the damage.
I feel Elements are putting a little bit too much emphasis on the side lane control when they can pick up the easy Dragon. However, survive long enough.
This fight's not over.
Yeah, it's never over. And then
easy
look at PePiiNeRO, his ultimate's almost coming up. So he might actually catch some of the Elements members off guard.
They bought this time.
Here's teleport from Werlyb too.
And Frederick's also going to come in around the back. Now, Elements are bailing out of this situation. Werlyb's not going to try and let him back away from this one. Lantern's thrown out as he go right
back. Look at PePiiNeRO. He's the man to watch right now.
Pepi is coming around the back of the pit as the Dragon is being tanked by Werlyb right now. Adryh's taking a whole lot of damage, but now he turns his attention, and Froggen's already down. The rest of Elements have to scatter. Jwow's gone Mega, and Frederick's gonna go down, throws Werlyb away to the rest of Elements, but Nyph, as he follows, gets caught by a chain. Won't quite go down. Now Jwaow and Gnar being chased out by PePiiNeRO. Very scattered fight. It's a 2-for-1 so far.
Not quite sure what Pepi was doing early in the fight, but it pays off right now. He picks up 2 kills in that fight, makes Werlyb survive.
And there goes the Dragon.
Well, and the Dragon lost. Elements a missed opportunity here, in my opinion.
Can we tell them?
Yes, guys, this is not Team Solo mid playing. You know, they have some mid lane oriented teams back in the day. But honestly, a missed opportunity by Elements right here. They had the window of opportunity when Orianna ball or Orianna ulti wasn't cooldown. They could have probably traded a tower for a Dragon. Let's watch that again. PePiiNeRO doesn't know if he goes left, right, just pacing right here, but Froggen tries to join his team but walks through Giants because he gets zoned by PePiiNeRO on the left side, and then look at how low Frederick goes. Actually goes down. Yeah, Pepi just picking up those kills one by one. Elements, they waited too long. Story of their life almost right now. Waited too long for something to happen and they got punished for it. Giants are now 1.8k gold ahead of Elements, and they stopped the Dragon bleeding almost. You know, Elements had the threat of getting that 4th Dragon right there, potentially 5 later on, but right now they're 12 minutes away from a potential 5th Dragon, and that's a whole lot of time for that Giants lineup to keep scaling.
Well, we saw our longest match of display yesterday with this Elements team. They did manage to pull out a win, but at this point, Giants, they're playing it a little bit better, and they've stopped, as you mentioned, they stopped that bleeding, they stopped the game path for Elements to pick up all the Dragons, and they get themselves some more vision on the map.
I got a lot of sleep yesterday, so I'm ready for another long match. If Elements and Giants choose to break that record,
we're in for a long haul.
See if they do. Froggen still stuck in the mid lane. Now Azir is scaling up. He also hit his triple item spike. PePiiNeRO Says, I want another one of those large rods. I like it when I do a lot of damage. On that split push TP Orianna. Honestly, probably the first time I've seen that. But ironically, it's working. Something we haven't mentioned, and we saw it last fight. If Giants go low in a fight, they can base 1 TP, 2 TPs, and the Rek'Sai ultimate. They can surprise you in these long extended skirmishes. Because Elements, they only have 1 TP on their side, and they'll need a whole lot of home guards to match that team fight joint potential the Giants have. Frederick gets out.
And these fights have been so long and drawn out as well that it's allowed, even when PePiiNeRO, as we saw earlier, he misses his shockwave, right?
Yeah.
The fight, they kind of dance around for a little bit and then they wait a little bit and then the fight happens, and by that time he's already got a backup. There's low cooldowns on this composition. They don't need to worry about it too much. They just, even if somebody does get caught too, as long as it's a big tanky member, it's not a problem. Dexter, he's caught on that chain, but Giants don't want to take that one, so they can just bide their time until Elements makes a mistake.
You talk about short cooldowns. PePiiNeRO's shockwave is under a minute cooldown right now. 59 seconds at the moment.
In a game like this, that means you can definitely be throwing it out quite a lot. Elements have to respect that ball. Nyph, a little low on the HPs, has to back away. Froggen can't zone quite as effectively as he wants right now.
Emperor's Divide is on the exact same cooldown right now. Froggen's bang on the money. 60 seconds. Every minute we could see
Will they be able
crucial
to
teamfight ultimates come out.
They're coming in. Nyph, there's the Gragas ascent, the ball delivery, and that means Nyph is all alone in the front line right now as Elements backed away from it all. Frederick moving away. Nobody really gets anything out of this just yet. Frederick, however, is being fired down. That's Pop Summoner heal. That's Adryh who used it, but meanwhile, take a look at that side of your screen. Elements have to respond to these minions in the bottom.
Froggen showing he's not only good at League of Legends, but also at pinball. Redirects that flying dragon to the left and completely zones him out of the fight. PePiiNeRO had to step out of that fight. Want to poke both ways, but nobody dies. Heal enough to keep Frederick alive. Complete reset. And yeah, as we said, wait 1 more minute.
They can fight again.
We can try one more time.
So minions took a bite out of the tower in the bottom. As it stands, it really only has been those outer turrets taken down. Obviously, that had freed up the river for a bit, but this game's been all about those dragons so far. One time it was about the Baron. Didn't end quite so well for Elements.
Yeah, and one matchup that's scaling in Giants' favor is definitely the Sivir Corki. Later in the game, the AoE damage that a Sivir brings to the table is not to be neglected, and especially not with that item build where Phantom Dancer scales much better towards the later items. Yes, it delays your last Whisper, but once you hit it, you obviously have a better 3-item spike. Whereas Corki, Triforce is a really solid item for a first initial spike, but it doesn't get more value the more items you finish because obviously the Triforce boxes off your base damage.
Oh, goodbye. Carve themselves up a side of beef. Elements find themselves without a cow. That's going to mean Giants.
He had flash.
Start to move towards the Baron.
He could have flashed out of there.
I don't think he expected that burst.
His ulti was on a 2 seconds cooldown there as he got caught.
Elements trying to buy time against this Baron. Emperor's Divide comes out. Giants don't have to fear it as much right now.
Look for the flank.
Coming around. There's the teleport on the Thresh Lantern. It's going to complete. Elements are backing away. The Prey Seeker comes in. It's Froggen in the back of the head. They're still looking to chase. The hook won't connect.
Optimistic.
Time. See Lothark watching the screen.
That's not Elements' coach Mark. For the fans wondering on the coach cam. He's probably watching upstairs. He usually does that. Alright, Frederick.
Oh, that could be some trouble, but he doesn't go down just yet. Jwaow, however, into Gnar form, is going to be distracted by him as Werlyb moves in for Froggen, Dexter, and Tabzz. In comes Nyph, newly revived, and Nyph is caught, but nonetheless, they lose Frederick, they lose Werlyb. Elements in a good situation here.
Good reaction by Elements. They peel back where they have to, and then Nyph, the returning support, proves to be the hero here. Returning back from base into that fight. Good knock-up. Elements 2 kills. PePiiNeRO has his ultimate though, and Elements, they're clumping up in the Baron pit.
They're clumping up, they have to respect that
goes
big
wide.
ball. The alacrity boots that Pepe's got means he'll be stepping just a little bit faster if he wants to go in. Froggen is going to be the one that looks like he starts it. The Flay doesn't connect, the Baron is secured. Elements pop the coin, look to chase down GODFRED. Will they be able to get him? While minions are still pecking away at the Giants' second tier bottom.
Look at your top left corner of your screen. Dragon is live. Elements just picked up Baron. No teleport on Werlyb. Teleport on Orianna, PePiiNeRO, but he'll watch the teleport too, and Elements poised to take their 4th dragon of the game.
Game has shifted yet again, Krepo. Back to the favor of Elements. Big power plays for them. Dragon number 4, Baron, what can they do with it? That's the question. Will they be able to shove in Giants and take themselves some more objectives?
Now sieging into a Sivir Orianna composition is a different thing than fighting them in the open. When your movement patterns become predictable, obviously you want to move towards that tower. Trying to hit that tower while still avoiding an Orianna ball and the possibility to get flying from either side from the base gates, if not TPs behind you, is a whole different task. Let's see if Elements can find their flanks warded. Open up the map with some couple towers here. They have good poke though. Azir and Corki with Baron buff. Fantastic poke.
Oh, but Giants have a little bit of damage themselves. Nyph's got to be careful not to get caught like that again.
Baron creeps. Here we go. On the hunt.
In comes the dragon. But they don't have enough damage. The full tank Shyvana not dealing, and Dexter getting slowly poked out time and time again. Sundisk is down, covering Elements retreat. They managed to get a tower and then some change. Punch a hole through Giants mid lane, but will it be enough?
Oh, Elements is running composition. If you look ahead of time, say they don't really get anything off this push. Aspect of the dragon is super good on Pokecoms. Super good on Azir. Fantastic on Corki too. Even Jwaow benefits a lot from it, so Giants thwarting that push right now. But they've used their ammunition, they've used their Werlyb ability.
Now,
they've stopped Elements so far.
Elements are a little unsure of what to do, it looks like, as they look to move towards the top, but they didn't have the wave quite in their sight, so now they're going to take their chance to go up there. Still, this buys some time for Giants to be able to push out in the mid.
They want to fix their side lanes before they do anything else, really. Use that Baron buff to their advantage, and they obviously have to be careful at this point in the game. Even on the hunt is going on a relatively low cooldown right now, 80 seconds for Adryh, so under a minute and a half. Elements preparing that Baron vision while still having the buff. It's never too early for vision. To set up a 4-1 push right here on the top lane and the bot lane respectively.
About it as a long-term investment. Now, looking to maybe cash in on this top side with the minions empowered by the Baron. GODFRED sends the hook flying. Once again, it won't connect. The Giants are looking to go on the hunt. In comes GODFRED. He gets Dexter, who bops his way away. Teleport canceled. Jwaow can still push on this bottom side.
I'll just reset the fight, and Jwaow is knocking on that bottom door. He's doing what SK did not do yesterday. They committed to the fight while they had the split push advantage. And you see in your picture-in-picture camera right there, Werlyb trying to force out Jwaow.
Still Giants here defending this top tower, but it is the extended siege for Elements trying to choke the life out of these Giants.
Baron buff goes down. Baron buff lost 4 minutes, so now Giants know exactly when a Baron's coming up, and Dexter is caught.
Yep, GODFRED and Frederick are already on him. He's trying desperately to get out, but he misses the flash. He's able, however, to dash over the wall. Still, gotta be careful, can't give up the lead that they've already built. As slim as it is, Elements continue to evade capture by Giants.
Let's take a look at that bottom lane. Ooh, the mid lane tower goes down. Froggen, see, with the soldiers.
Oh, denied, but he denies Werlyb too on the back of it. Let's see if he can get out. PePiiNeRO is looking to flank him.
Froggen with them
the damage.
Blue suede shoes looking to get out of there. Also takes a bit of a face plant into the wall. Frederick, no flash.
Chasing him over as much as they can. The ball delivery misses. Froggen spends his flash for that one, and Nyph is there with the coin. Froggen is out.
Both Elements members ate a full face full of concrete, flashing into the wall there, but they managed to survive. Anyways.
No one's allowed to touch the Emperor.
Yep.
Without the consent of Elements.
That's the tricky thing right there. Those soldiers, even though Werlyb almost made it over, he hits one of those soldiers, and that immediately, sends you back. And because you can't land on that wall, you get pushed back all the way to where you started. And almost got Froggen there. Good zone control. Good quick thinking, because he's surrounded by enemies, and he knew exactly where he had to run to survive.
So with that Baron buff, they do manage to finally take down the inhibitor turret in mid. They got the tier 2 in top, so they did do some work with it. They're a minute and a half out for this next dragon. Giants, once again, were in a similar situation that they were some time ago. They have to stop this bleeding because it may be slow, but they're still going to run out of blood. And
now usually when you take a dragon right after you take a Baron, the timers tend to line up within like 20 seconds range of each other. And we see it in the top right, top left of your screen right here. 30 seconds after the dragon spawns, Baron does as well. So you might see an objective trade here, and honestly, if Elements can trade it evenly, Dragon for Baron or Baron for Dragon, they might actually come out on top.
Now they're in that luxurious situation that they can afford to make trades like that. The gold hasn't been as much to speak of this game because it's been so close. It's 3,000 different right now. That hasn't made much of a difference, but those dragons, they tell the big story. The towers, they tell a big story. Giants have given up a lot of their lead here. However, Elements are the ones that don't really have the position on this dragon. Instead, they may elicit to just try and force pressure off by heading towards mid.
And the gold advantages you want to watch, the items, is just Jwaow against Werlyb. You want ultimate push him. Here we go, on the hunt, Pyra.
Yep, that's the indicator for the fight to start. Nyph is going to go ahead and pop his coin. Giants still unable to find an opening. Nyph will get the knock-up, and now Frederick, there's the ball. It's going to connect on 3, however, but they don't have the follow-up damage. Pepi gets shut down by Tabzz, and there's the Emperor's Divide. Shurima demands that Frederick is going to go down, and the rest of Giants will follow. Only Werlyb stands between Elements and victory from here.
Yeah, PePiiNeRO reaches in, good Orianna ulti, but no follow-up, and then Werlyb and Frederick get caught against Froggen, and he says, do you have a moment to talk about our Lord and Savior Shurima? 1v2s them perfectly, and Elements poised to take the victory.
Poised to take it indeed. No one left to oppose them but one half dragon. Elements have 4, and they're about to pick off Giants to secure the victory that they were denied earlier in the split. And let's see if they can get themselves back up. A 2-0 week for Elements, and they needed it.
Yeah, Elements, slow and steady mid-game. Managed to dance around that Sivir composition that very often they ran themselves, and honestly, they figured out what Giants wanted to do. Made a small slip up at the Baron, and was almost a mirror of what SK let them do yesterday, where Elements got out on top because of a Baron trade with a Gnar involved, but eventually they stayed ahead, and getting those early dragons really put a lot of pressure on Giants. They picked that Orianna, a very weak early game. They picked a scaling bot lane, and they lost a lot of their map control. And I think that crucial solo kill Jwaow had on Werlyb right before he teleported back to base with a lot of gold, honestly set things in motion here. And Jwaow, he's been looking better recently. He came into the split as one of those talents that always found himself on a weak team. People were always saying, hey, is he the real deal? Is he not? He has to prove it. And honestly, people were doubting, rightfully so, in the first 3 weeks. But he's been looking better. And I think he deserves a lot of merit for this victory from Elements.
I agree. I think that overall, Jwaw's doing quite good. I would say, I think they have a spring in their step here with Nyph now stepping back onto the stage, and it's something that we hadn't seen from Elements in a while. So it's still a bit of a slow march. I think there's still definitely a lot of mistakes being made, but a 2-0 week speaks to itself, the evolution of this team right now.
I mean,
can't argue with the results.
If you could have asked Elements, do you want 2-0 this week with Nyph, even though it would have been sloppy games, they would have immediately told you, yes, yes, we do.
They'll take the win.
They'll definitely take the win.
Or 2, rather.
I know I would have. But yeah, that 4th dragon initially that came out, that they can definitely look at that and, you know, look at their cooldown management. Say if you can get the Orianna ulti on cooldown, then you just have to prioritize that dragon, sacrifice the tower if you have to, but played carefully enough and played to their objectives. And it didn't give Giants a chance to use that wombo combo Orianna ulti. Always respected it. And in the last fight, PePiiNeRO got the ulti off, but it was too late. Not enough damage, and immediately collapsed on top of him. And Froggen was out on the left side, just dueling with Frederick, with Werlyb, and yeah, good team fighting by Elements.
Exactly. It wasn't just being able to do that. They were able to then just basically deny any attempts that Giants were making with their knockaround, with those superior team fights, and they were able to close out the game, importantly, without overly relying on those 5 dragons. But for now, though, we're going to go ahead and send it side stage.